The Paris 2024 Olympic Games promise to be dazzling with a host of venues, both iconic and historic. From the majestic Eiffel Tower and Champ de Mars in the heart of Paris to the breathtaking waves of Tehupuru in Tahiti, these rides promise unforgettable moments in exceptional settings. In the past, Olympic hosts have transformed their most famous landmarks into epic sporting spectacles. Rome had wrestle in the ancient Basilica of Maxentius. The Sydney Opera House hosted the triathlon, and the Athens returned to its historical roots with marathons retracing the footprints of the ancients. Get ready to explore the stunning stadiums of the Paris 2024 Olympics. Modern Olympic host cities have embraced the competitive spirit by aiming to host the most spectacular and memorable opening ceremonies ever seen. Like the previous hosts have always showcased their talented listeners, like Beijing showed their drummers and the rich history of their bands, and James Bond was introduced with Queen Elizabeth in the London Olympics in 2012, and Rio 2016 had Giselle performing, and everyone was so amazed that they started doing her ramp walk or the catwalk. But Paris this time has made a bet that the city itself is enough to attract people's attention. As you all know, Paris is one of the most iconic tourist destinations in the world, so this coming July, 26th of July to be precise, when the Summer Olympics open in Paris, the opening ceremony promises to be a cinematic spectacle. At sunset, a fleet of boats will carry the athletes on the Seine. The stage will take place outdoors with hundreds of thousands of spectators clapping from the banks and bridges, all under amber skies. This event will be the first time to take place outside the traditional setting of a stadium and solely on the river. Many Olympic events will also move from their usual peripheral stadium to iconic locations in central Paris, giving the locals and the visitors a new perspective on the French capital. Now, moving on to the game. Unlike previous Olympics, Paris 2024 introduced only two new permanent sporting venues as part of a strategic move to reduce the cost and move towards a leaner and cleaner games. The first of them is an 8,000-seat arena which hosts badminton and rhythmic gymnastics, that was inaugurated in February in Les World area north of Paris. At the same time, President Emmanuel Macron inaugurated a new water sports center in a neighboring suburb on April 4th. Apart from that, almost 95% of the events will be using existing venues or quickly constructed temporary stands. The Games will begin on July 26th and the Paralympic Games will take place on August 28th. The iconic venues in Paris will provide unique variety of sports and will showcase how French sporting culture have moved on ever since they last hosted the Olympics 100 years ago in 1924. Beach volleyball, for instance, will take place in front of the Eiffel Tower, archery at Lides, skateboarding at Place de la Concorde, and the Palace of Versailles will host equestrian events. In total, almost 2 lakh seats will be installed at the temporary locations. The scene will host not only open water swimming when the conditions allow, but also a grand opening ceremony in which teams will parade down the river in a flotilla of boats in front of 500,000 spectators. The organizers have ensured that the infrastructure and the budgets are well managed and under control. Now let's look at some of the stages. The Stade de France, located in Saint-Denis, is one of the most famous stadiums in France and will host athletics and rugby matches. The capacity of the stadium is at 77,083 seats, and it will host the athletics and rugby matches during the Paris 2024 Olympic and the Paralympic Games as well. It was originally built for the 1998 FIFA World Cup, when France, as a host, beat Brazil 3-0 to lift the World Cup. And over the years, this has been an essential venue for major sporting events such as the 2003 World Athletics Championships and many rugby World Cups, including the latest 2023 World Cup. And incidentally, that too was a great matchup. And it is also where the French national football team and rugby team compete annually. And it also hosts a lot of concerts with a lot of international artists coming over to perform. Looking ahead, after the 2024 Paris Olympic, the stadium will continue to be the center for major cultural and sporting events in France. For those attending the Games, the Olympic and Paralympic Village is just 2 kilometers away. There are also other locations nearby, such as the Olympic Aquatic Center and Le Convert Shooting Range, or Le Canoe Shooting Range. Anyways, moving on, for those wanting to explore, Marchaux, the Saint-Brand and Saint-Denis-Versailles are both nearby. So, moving on, the Roland Garros Stadium is another legendary sporting venue and home to some of the most iconic moments in tennis history. This stadium has witnessed remarkable matches such as the epic final of Chris Evert and Martina Navratilova in 1985, or the remarkable victory of Rafael Nadal at the age of 19 in his first appearance at Roland Garros. Named in the honor of Roland Garros, the pioneer of French aviation, this vast stadium covers an area of 12 hectares and includes 18 clay courts. Among those are the Simon Mathieu and Susan Lejeune courts, which will host tennis matches or tennis events in Paris 2024, and the Philippe Chatrier courts, which will also host boxing. Located on the edge of Bois de Boulogne, near the Parc des Princes Stadium, Roland Garros proudly hosts the annual French Open, one of the 4 prestigious Grand Slam tournaments. This event not only demonstrates the pinnacle of tennis talent, but also promotes France's sporting strength to more than 220 countries around the world. The stadium has undergone several upgrades to remain competitive with other Grand Slam venues, especially between 2015 and 2021. Improvements include a modern retractable roof over the Philippe Chateau and adding a 5,000-seat stadium located inside Philippe. Chateau Côte Jardin-d'Artil Garden is named after Simon Mathieu. Parc des Princes is expected to host soccer or American football during the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Known for its rich soccer history, France has many stadiums, and the Parc des Princes is one of them. It is the official stadium of the most, or you can say the richest club in France, Paris Saint-Germain, and it was designed by Roger Taliber, who shared the vision behind Montreal Olympic Stadium. That said, this stadium is not only the center of football clubs in Paris, but also organizes many important matches for the French national football team and rugby teams as well. This is an important venue in major international tournaments such as the 1998 FIFA World Cup and the 2016 Euro Football Championship. Located at the eastern end of Champs-Élysées in Paris, not only it is the largest public square in Paris city, but also one of the most historic or iconic. Known for its central role in the French Revolution, it was also the gateway to major events such as the 1900 Paris Universal Exposition and the 1925 International Exposition of Modern Decorative and Industrial Arts. In addition, it is also the venue for the victory celebrations at the end of the two world wars and the festivals following France's victory at the 1998 FIFA World Cup Games in Paris. Place de la Concorde will transformed into a dynamic urban location. From Saturday 27th July to Saturday 10th of August, the square will host freestyle BMX, skateboarding, halftime, and 3-on-3 basketball competition. With a capacity of 30,000, this iconic venue will provide a unique setting for athletes and spectators showcasing this exciting sport, and it will also host the new event that's gonna start, that is the breaking, or commonly known as the breakdance, or whatever it's known as, breaking in the contest. Now, with a capacity of 30,000, this iconic venue will provide a unique setting for athletes and spectators showcasing this exciting sporting event in the heart of Paris. Stade Velodrome is one of Marseille's iconic sporting venues and is said to hold the first football matches in the Paris 2024 Olympic Games, and coincidentally speaking, it has already started on the 24th of July itself, so it was an early start for them, but the opening ceremony is still dated on the 26th, so stay tuned for that. Now, since the opening of the stadium in 1937, it has been home to Olympique de Marseille, the city's top professional soccer team. Or you could say, not soccer team, you could say just a football team, because soccer is the American version. Anyways, in addition to club football, the Stade Velodrome has a rich history of hosting important international sporting events, including the 1938 and 1998 FIFA World Cups, European footballs, and the Champions League. It also hosted the Rugby World Cup in 2007. For Paris 2024, this is one of the two venues in Marseille, along with Marseille Marina, which will host the sailing events, highlighting its continued importance in the world of sports. The Grand Palais de Champellier, also known as the Grand Palais, will host fencing and taekwondo events during the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. This architectural marvel was built for the 1900 Universal Exposition, famous for its vastness. Recognized by the Ministry of Culture and as a historical site, the Grand Palais serves many functions. It functions as a museum, an art gallery, an exhibition hall, and it also acts sometimes as a sporting venue, which will definitely be the case for Paris Olympic 2024. Notable past events include the 2010 World Fencing Championship and the unique stage of the 2017 Tour de France, which passed through the Palais as part of the bid to host Summer Olympics 2024 of Paris. This combination of cultural and sporting importance created the Grand Palais an ideal place to visit the still scene of the Olympic sports of fencing and taekwondo. This Planet des Invalides is located north of the Hotel des Invalides, a complex with military history and the resting place of the great Napoleon Bonaparte, will host the archery events or the archery competitions during Paris 2024. The lawns there are very expensive. Spice, known for its connection to France's military past, also serves as a spectacular finish line for the marathon. The open spaces and historic settings make this the ideal location for the precision and elegance of archery. Château de Versailles, a symbol of French royal grandeur and a UNESCO World Heritage Site, will host the equestrian events of the most modern pentathlon, with the exception of the fencing classification events during the Olympic Games of 2024 Paris, which will take place in a temporary external arena installed on the Esplanade de Flotille Royal, west of the Grand Canal, in the center of the palace gardens. This venue promises to blend the royal history of Versailles with the thrill and disciplinary of Olympic equestrian sports and modern pentathlon. Finally, Cologne Manor Stadium is preparing for a historical repeat during the Paris 2024 Olympics, which will exclusively host hockey competitions. Opened in 1907, the stadium distinguished itself as the second Olympic venue, having served as center stage during the 1924 Paris Games 100 years back from now. At that time, it was the main arena for many sports, including athletics, cycling, equestrian, gymnastics, tennis, football, rugby, and the two modern pentathlon events of running and fencing. The stadium also has a rich football history, having hosted the 1938 FIFA World Cup final, where Italy beat Hungary 4-2 to win its second World Championship.